Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review, and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. Today we have all three, so I have read, we're going to talk about, and kind of review. That didn't really work. The latest chapter of The Wandering Inn, for me, not the latest for, everyone. So that is chapter 38 from volume 1. So, where did chapter 37 leave us? So, you saw my video of that yesterday, but for context, I recorded that on the weekend. So, it's been a few days for me, 24 hours for you. Yesterday, we were left with Ghazi and Erin, Erin kind of finding out how famous Ghazi was and selling her shield spiders and some of that sort of stuff. There's also some rumblings that there's a thief in town, and we got a little bit of more Relk action. And I posited, and somebody said in the comments, yeah, I think based on Relk's actions, he is an ass. And he does another asshole thing in this chapter. So let's just get to it. So we start off with Erin being accused by Lism, the awful shopkeeper, of being the thief. So we've heard that there's a human thief going around, and he accuses Erin because he doesn't like her, because she forced him to sell her food for actual reasonable rates, not the silly gold coins that she originally charged. He originally charged. And he's also Olism, the chess playing Drake, the tactician. He is his uncle. I don't know why I keep saying she in relation to this shopkeeper. Maybe that's what I originally thought and completely forgot. Anyway, so we've got they're being accused. Erin's being accused, and one of the cops comes over and is like, "Yeah, well, okay, this person's accused you, so I'm gonna have to check you out, and I'm gonna have to take you down to the station, and we're gonna have to do an interview and get you on the magical polygraph." And Erin's like, "Oh God, okay, I mean, cops, what are you gonna do?" And then Kershia, who is nearby, is like, she very clearly didn't do this. She wasn't in town when it happened. She's got all this evidence. You're not taking her to the guardhouse? And the guard's like, "Oh, well, I think, maybe, I should get her under the truth spell, and then that'll be her evidence that she didn't do it." And Kershia basically, bullies the guard into letting Erin go. And Erin kind of thinks to herself, "Oh, maybe, I don't know, probably wouldn't, I don't know, I probably," she's like, "Oh, I don't know if that's, a good idea, I like that the gnolls can just bully people." So that's quite fun. But then Kershia starts bullying Erin to coming and having dinner at her house. And, she's like, "Oh, come have dinner at my house." And Erin's like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm kind of tired." And it feels I think Kershia even says as much, that she's got something specific to talk to Erin about. So she's like, "Oh, I need to talk to you about something, but why don't you come to, we need to do it private, come to my house." So there's definitely something going on with Kershia. But then Ghazi turns up. So she basically bullies Erin into coming over, but just as they're walking towards her house, Ghazi turns back up and she's like, "Hey, Erin, I know you said you had it in and that I could eat there. Can we go eat there?" And Kershia is just so awestruck by Ghazi, because, we've learned last time she's incredibly famous, that Kershia is like, yeah, you can go, okay. And it's kind of dumbstruck. And then I think probably the most, hard to say whether it's the most important thing in the chapter, but there's a chess thing dropped, which is that I think his name is the Titan of Bolero, so I'm going to look it up. So the Titan of Baleros has been sending chess puzzles. Yeah, Titan of Baleros. He's been sending chess puzzles out to all the chess players and all the strategists and tacticians. And so Olism is really excited, and he takes it to see Erin, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so excited because it's like a chess puzzle, and I love chess." And Erin's like, "Oh yeah, I know how to solve this." And he's like, "Oh, I've been staring at this for hours." And then she's like, "Oh yeah, it's okay. I've seen this puzzle before," which is, she keeps saying stuff which gives away that like she's not from the in world, because like how chess puzzles have just been invented. Like, how's she seen? I know she's said before, like, "Oh yeah, we've just had chess for like way way longer where I'm from." And nobody seems to like really question it, or maybe they don't want to question it because they like Erin. We all have questionable friends where we're like, "I'll just let this one slide." And then they're talking about how the Titan's been sending out these chess puzzles, and Erin is like, "Oh, I've solved that one. Why don't I write a puzzle to send back to the Titan?" And she writes one down, and Olism's like, "Oh, I actually know how to solve that." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And she makes a couple of changes, and then it's like infinitely harder. So she sends that. She gives that to Olism, and she gives him 2 silver to send it back to the Titan of Baleros. So I feel like it feels like there's probably like a big chess tournament arc that's going to turn up, or maybe the Titan just turns up to the score. Interesting stuff. And then there's a bit of discussion about how basically the postal service, or like magic postal service, works in world. That's interesting. And it sounds like the mages can send an image magically, so that's interesting. And then they go back to the inn, and this is quite funny because the funny part is that Pisces is eating all of Erin's food in the inn. He's got his feet up on the table, and Erin like stomps in because they walked through the residential district to get there, and they actually so she, on the way to the inn, this happens before, she gets cornered by, I say cornered, she's like watching all the Drake families and being a bit like, sad because she hasn't seen her family in a while, and probably, may never see them again. And then a little Drake child asks her if she can shoot blood out of her crotch, because he doesn't really understand the menstrual cycle or how that works. And that's funny. And she's really mad about that. So she goes back to the inn, and she's already mad, and Pisces has his feet on the table, and she like has a go at Pisces for eating her food and never paying for anything. And then Pisces and Ghazi kind of have like a bit of a stare down, and Pisces is like, "Oh, Ghazi can't be that Ghazi." And then like as it goes on, he's like, "Oh, it definitely is her." And then Ghazi's like, "So, hello, necromancer," and he like poops himself basically. And then greetings, necromancer, she says with the square brackets to say that she knows it's his class. And it's described as the most robe-wetting thing Pisces could imagine. I do enjoy sections from Pisces' point of view. I think that he's a good POV to have in the series. So the next thing that happens, though, is that Relk and a couple of cronies turn up to the inn, and Relk is like, "Oh, I saw Human today, and I was a bit like, oh, I wish I should go and say hello to Erin again. It's been a while." And then you get like, so Erin serves Relk and the guardsman some food, and then Pisces and Ghazi, and then Pisces is about to is asking for his food. Erin's like, "Well, you haven't paid your tab, so I'm not giving you anything." And then Pisces is like, oh, actually, I can pay the tab. And he hefts all the money that he got from the Horns of Hammerand. And then Relk just takes it. He just takes the money. And I said last chapter that I think that Relk is an ass. And I think that this is even more clear that Relk is an ass. Like, yes, Pisces was a thief, and he should pay back the people that he paid, that he stole from. And, you know, that money that Pisces got there probably should have gone to that. But Relk knew that Pisces had a tab with Eren, so he could have let him settle the tab and then taken the money. Like, I think that that was pretty douchey of Relk to just be like, no, money's mine. And, like, setting aside the fact that confiscating money for the state seems kind of sucky and, like, gross. Relk is just like, well, yeah, no, you can't give this money to anyone. You can't pay for your food with Eren. And then, like, Relk almost starts a fight with Gazi, trying to, like, boast at her, and Gazi just does not care. And she's like, oh, I've killed a few Spearmasters. So, like, that's an impressive rank. But, yeah, I've only killed a few of them. And, like, that kind of shuts Relk up a bit. And then Eren basically comes out and is like, stop harassing my customers. And eventually Relk kind of backs down. And then Relk also says, like, hey, you need to get an adventurer because it's going to start to protect the inn because it's going to start getting dangerous around here soon. Because we have actually heard that the season's changing will mean lots of monsters come back to where the inn is. And Eren's like, okay, Gazi, you're an adventurer. Like, I can't afford a full price one, but I can give you free room and board sort of thing. And Gazi's like, oh no, I'm not staying around. And everyone breathes a sigh of relief because she's so, like, powerful. She also mentioned something as well. I know this is a bit earlier when Relk's like, you're going to cause trouble. And she says, her liege is asleep and she is peaceful. So I think we've heard that she works for, like, I want to say I've heard the King of Destruction. And interesting, if you think about that, and she says, my liege is asleep. But in the King interlude earlier, when the two humans dropped from our world into in-world, into that throne room, there was, like, a sleeping king who, like, stood up and was like, right, now it's time to wreck shop. So maybe that's the King of Destruction. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. And then once Eren realizes she can't get Gazi to protect the inn, Pisces is like, hey, why don't I do it? Like, I owe you money in exchange for, like, food and board and whatever. Why don't I protect the inn? Or, like, he says it in a really weird and roundabout way, which probably means that he's going to do something weird. But no predictions on that front yet. But it does sound like Eren is planning on actually sorting out the rooms, so not sleeping on the floor. So that'll be fun. Maybe Pisces, as a mage, will be able to tell what's going on with that skeleton that disappeared, or maybe he necromanced it. I don't know. And so the final section is another POV, and it's from the POV of the thief in Liscor. And it is saying, it seems like this girl is another lady. Because she's she's trying to get to Chelum, which is where Magnolia and Ryoka are. But she'd been given, like, the wrong directions, and now she was, like, stuck in Liscor, and she's got no money. So even though she's a lady, she's been, like, stealing. And it says it, like, theft was not befitting of her station. So yeah, maybe like a lady version of a gentleman thief. I don't know. Probably not. It seems like she's another lady. Seems like she knows Magnolia, and that there's something going on there. So yeah, excited to see where that story goes. Another good chapter. We talked in the comments yesterday about these chapters being transitional rather than filler. Filler is the wrong term. And I said in the video, like, I know filler is the wrong term, but this feels like this is kind of bridging. But somebody said that they're referred to as transitional chapters, which makes a lot of sense. It feels like they're setting up a lot of stuff with Ghazi, but then she's not staying around. And I wonder if that's because Ghazi's going to be like a major antagonist or villain coming down the line, or maybe a major kind of hero that saves the day at some point because she owes Eren a favor, or because her and Eren are friends, or something like that. There's definitely, you know, her and Eren have built a relationship and a friendship, and a lot of that, I believe, is because Eren doesn't know who she is, so isn't scared of her, and once she does know who she is, she's already, you know, not scared. So yeah, I think that it's been good chapter this week, transitioning us from one part of the story to the next. If I have a look at the word counter, so we're actually making pretty decent progress now. I talked about this on Twitter. We got 2 Ryoka chapters coming up, actually. So I talked about this on Twitter recently, which is that my schedule for a long time has been that Monday would be a video on my current reading. Tuesday would be like a non-current reading based video. So it'd be like a feature, like the TBR video or something like that. Then Wednesday would be more current reading. Thursday would be the Wandering Inn. Friday would be the weekly wrap up. But I actually think that what I'm going to do now is any time that I don't have a video, I'm not going to force one. So anytime on the Monday through Wednesday videos, I'm not going to force videos. I'm just going to make new Wandering Inn chapters. And I think that that's going to benefit the Wandering Inn viewers, because you guys, you know, I think that there has been a little bit of disappointment now that I shifted down to 1 chapter per video, but these chapters are just so long, I don't really have time to read more than 1 or 2. And on top of that, I think that this will let me move a little bit faster, because somebody had mentioned in the comments, like, if you actually read 1 chapter a week, you're not going to finish volume 1 until like 2025. Or maybe not 2025, but like, yeah, so we have basically 30 chapters left. 30 chapters, 30 weeks, that's most of a year. So yeah, my basic thought is, so for Wandering Inn viewers, I hope you like watching these chapters, because there's probably going to be more a week from now on. I am probably going to start having to batch record and do like a whole afternoon or something on the weekend of reading the Wandering Inn and doing the video straight after. So like read video, just so that the schedule continues to be nice and manageable. However, more Wandering Inn videos for you guys. I can't guarantee 2 or more every week. I expect next week there will only be 1. But yeah, I'm going to try and do as many as I can, and try and make this read along kind of speed up a little bit. If anyone who's watching this is like, no, please just keep the 1 chapter a week, slow down and stay on this course, maybe I will add a bonus web serial like Worm and do chapters of Worm once per week as well. That was something that I had originally thought about back in the day. When I first picked a web serial, I decided to go with the Wandering Inn because I felt like it was kind of the best of the ones that I tried. Yeah, so we will come back and see you guys for more Wandering Inn next week. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. If you are watching the weekly wrap-up, recap, whatever it's called, recap, I will see you tomorrow.